I'm so glad you decided to sign up for my 3-day course from food guilt to food freedom. If you signed up, it's probably because you deal with a lot of brain clutter, a lot of thoughts before you make a food choice, whether that's whenever you're going to go grocery shopping and trying to decide what you're going to put into your grocery basket, or if it's ordering out whenever you're eating out with friends and what you're going to order off the menu, or whenever you're ordering a drink from Starbucks and trying to decide what drink is the drink that you're going to choose. And it's hard because we are surrounded by diet culture, so the culture that tells us that we have to look a certain way and be a certain size and act a certain way, especially as females, and make certain food choices, which are the better choices or the healthier choices or the right choices. So it's a lot of noise that we get from the outside world that isn't always accurate or isn't always evidence-based. But the point of this is to move you from having all that guilt whenever it comes to choosing meals or food or snacks or whatever it may be, to food freedom, which is the idea that no food holds any power over you. You don't have chocolate being better than a glass of wine, or broccoli being better than a chocolate bar. Any combination of those things. I mean, you have the typical, like, obviously a fresh baked potato is better than French fries. That kind of idea, or that kind of concept, and moving away from that and just kind of seeing food more as neutral, more as food is food type thing, and broccoli is broccoli and rice is rice, and things like that. So food freedom means that you're no longer labeling foods in black and white, right and wrong. There's no morality associated with food. So you're completely free. You can choose things based on what you're in the mood for, based on your preferences, based on the things that you like, and not eating things that you don't like. So for example, not eating cauliflower rice if you really don't like it. If you really don't like it, then there's no reason that you need to be eating it. Versus if you prefer regular rice, then that's totally okay. And it's hard to move towards that. It's hard to change our mindset from allowing ourselves to eat those things that we've always heard were bad, like pasta and rice and French fries and whatever it may be. But we can take little baby steps, and that's what this is for. So day one is recognize, and it is about, today we're talking about recognizing what the issue is, if there is an issue, and making sure that you understand that there is an issue, because you can't correct something if you don't think that there's a problem at all, right? But then again, you wouldn't be here if that weren't the case. So that's a good step forward. And then day two is sitting with those emotions. So it's about taking the time to sit there and I guess marinating in your thoughts and your feelings with everything that you discovered on day one. And then day three is implementation. So it's about putting into practice everything that you've learned about yourself and trying to make that change in your own life. And every day there's a call to action, which is something that you can take from this video and implement to your own life to try to move closer to food freedom. And you'll have one every day. So it's something that you can do to take a little baby step forward to where you want to be. And so recognizing is all about uncovering the truth about your current relationship with food. So if you signed up for this course, you have the journal available to you, and you don't have to follow along. You don't have to have it open right now or anything like that. Those are for you to do on your own time. At your own pace whenever you feel ready. But I do kind of go through this video today just to hit on some important points. So the reason I understand this whole food guilt to food freedom thing is because I've been there where eating out has been hard, where grocery shopping is really hard, where choosing a drink at Starbucks is really hard. Really, wherever food is involved, and making a choice with food has always been hard, because I've always wanted to choose the right one, the healthy choice, the thing that I'm supposed to eat, right? And now, after going through intuitive eating and all of its principles and learning more about intuitive eating, and I started this intuitive eating before I even knew it was a thing, like before I even knew it had a name. Don't really know how it crossed my path. I was in grad school, and I don't know, maybe I just got fed up with always having to make the right choices when it came to food, especially as a dietitian, and it's just a long story. But long story short, I am so glad I stumbled upon intuitive eating and put into words what I was trying to discover on my own. And I mean, there's a whole book out there, and there's workbooks and all these things. And I just want to share that message with you because it is really freeing and it is really liberating to go from feeling like you are always debating with the choices that you're making, like feeling like you're going to make the wrong choice, to just being more at peace and not making food such a big deal every single time, not sitting there in class or sitting there at work trying to figure out what you're going to eat for lunch or what you're going to eat for dinner, based on making healthy choices. More so like sitting there and sometimes thinking about dinner, sometimes thinking about lunch, and like, oh, what am I in the mood for today? And that's just it's just beautiful. And I want that for you as well. But let's step into the recognizing mode and talk a little bit more about how to see, how to discover what your relationship with food is now. So just take the time to think about your next food choice. So if you're seeing this in the evening, then that means that probably your next meal will be in the morning for breakfast. So how do you make the choice to eat what you're going to eat? Is it something that you pre-planned? Do you have the whole week planned out? Or is it something you go off of a whim and see like whatever the morning brings, I'll figure it out then? Or do you not eat breakfast, and why do you not eat breakfast? So just thinking about how you think about food, and how you make those choices. So if you choose breakfast, or don't choose breakfast, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because you think it'll save you calories for later in the evening, just where do these thoughts come from? Like, when did you start not eating breakfast to save calories for later, and why that even came about? So just kind of taking the time to discover where all these thoughts come from, where they started, and things of that manner. And then what about labeling food? Do you label your food, like whenever you are choosing food at the grocery store for the week? Do you make a list of all the things that you want to buy, and do they typically fall under the good food category or the bad food category? Do you consider junk food as bad food, and that's something that you try to avoid, or try to something that you don't buy? Or ice cream, is that considered a bad food for you? So like, what foods do you consider bad? What foods do you avoid? And why do you avoid them? So what's really common is people avoiding pasta. So you avoid pasta because apparently carbs are the devil. And it's something that diet culture tells us, that carbs are bad, and that's why this whole keto thing was a huge thing. But why do you think they're bad? What foods did you choose to label as bad, and why do you try to avoid them? Is it oh, sorry, I was about to go into the whys of everything, right? But that's more of sitting with your emotions. That'll be something that we'll talk about tomorrow. So today is just kind of like recognizing the things that you do, and kind of seeing where they started, why you pick them up. But really, sitting with your emotions is more about the kind of more of like the fear that's associated with these choices, and where it started, and how to move away from like having that fear of eating a certain food to moving towards allowing that food in your life, or foods in your life. So again, today is just kind of more reflecting on the choices you make, and where that all came from. So, is there ever a time where you don't label food? It's just something to think about. Can you think of a situation where you have no judgment towards your food, where you just eat and enjoy it, and you don't feel any sort of anything towards that meal or that food choice, even if you do think it's quote unquote bad? An example that I have is whenever your grandmother or your mom makes you your favorite meal, you typically enjoy it with no judgment. You just sit down, enjoy the meal, eat it, and then afterwards it's over and you move on. And it's not something that you sit and dwell on, and it's like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have had my mom's chicken and dumplings, like I feel so horrible. I mean, or you might there might be another situation where it's a time where you don't feel any sort of guilt or anything afterwards, but typically it's pretty common for people to say that it's whenever their mom makes their favorite dish or their grandma makes their favorite dish that they don't sit there and have any judgment towards that food. And just kind of like sit and like think about that feeling of not feeling any sort of guilt after that meal, and how freeing it would be to have that feeling every time you made a food choice, or every time you ate a food or a meal. Just sitting down, enjoying the meal, finishing the meal, and then moving on with your life. Because food is a vital part of being human. We need food to live. It is essential, so no reason to feel any sort of guilt with it. But I like this example because it gives you a little taste of what food freedom really is and what it can be for every meal and for every food choice, not just for that food that your grandmother or your mom just made. And then, how automatic is your food labeling? Does it take you a little bit of time to decide whether the food is good or bad, or is it something that just happens like that? Like, you're not going to order the double cheeseburger at McDonald's, that you have to get the grilled cheese, or not the grilled cheese, the grilled chicken. Or is it something that you sit and debate for a little bit? Sometimes whenever we are chronic dieters, whenever you've been dieting for a long time, whether it be like Weight Watchers or keto or whatever it may be, we have all the knowledge, right? So we know how many calories a chicken patty has, and we know how many calories a hamburger patty has. We know how many calories a pasta dish at Cheddar's has, because we've done this for so long and been so strict with ourselves at like reading the food labels and reading the calories that this food has, that sometimes it's automatic. Like, we just know which food has the less calories or which food is the healthier choice, and so on and so forth. And it's just important to take note of this, because it kind of gives you a sense of how much diet culture is in you, like how long you've been dieting for. Just gives you like a sense of knowing where you're at with that. And so the call to action for today, after sitting there, if you can do the journal prompt after this video, and you sit there and think about all of these questions that are included in the journal, and just after you're through with that and you realize where you're at with your relationship with food, you can take this call to action. So next time you feel hungry, just kind of pay attention to your feelings of hunger. Like, what do you do whenever you feel hungry? What are your initial thoughts about hunger whenever you do feel hungry? And how do these feelings tie into how you label your food? So that's one of your first call to action. So paying attention to your feeling about hunger. Whenever hunger arises, just kind of use your phone or write it down. It doesn't matter. This is just for you, an exercise for you to just be more in tune with yourself and learn more about yourself to move closer to food freedom. But what do you feel like whenever you feel hungry? What are your first thoughts? Whenever you feel hunger, what are the things that are going through your head? And just jot those down and just think about those. And we'll talk a little bit more about them tomorrow. And then another call to action is paying attention to your feelings around food. So we've kind of already sat here and thought about our feelings around food, but it's more kind of like hypothetical things that how you might feel or how you have felt in the past. So based on experience. But this call to action is for you to pay attention whenever it happens. So whether you want to take breakfast or lunch or your snack or whatever tomorrow, but just pay attention to your feelings around that food. Like, how do you feel at breakfast, making your choices with food? Just kind of paying more attention to what these experiences of food and eating are like, instead of just going through with them, kind of like learning more about yourself and how breakfast, lunch, and dinner make you feel, how choosing snacks make you feel, or if you have kids, the choices that you give them for their meals and how that makes you feel. What are your thoughts whenever you're making these choices, things of that manner. So again, today was recognized, and it was just learning more about yourself, recognizing what your relationship with food is like, how ingrained diet culture is in your brain, or how much it's not, how much work you have to do to move forward towards food freedom, how much food guilt there really is in your life, whether if it's only apparent during a certain meal or certain environments, like being at home with your family or just going out to eat with friends, whatever the case may be. So just learning about how you feel during these times, and help you move forward towards food freedom. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me, feel free to email me. I'm here to help you. Again, I have this 3-day course to move you from food guilt to food freedom, because I've been there. And I know how freeing it is to just have food be neutral, have food be normal, and allow your brain to have more space for other things that are important, whether that be your career or your kids or planning vacations or whatever the case may be, instead of having the thoughts of food and food choices just like in your brain 24/7. So hopefully this helped a little bit. And if you didn't sign up and you're watching this video and you're like, oh, I want the journal that she's talking about, just send me a DM and I'll be happy to send it to you. Or you can just sign up for the course if you're watching this on Instagram. It's the link is in my bio. You click on it, you click on the 3-day crash course and put your email in there, and I'll send you the journal. So then that way you can have it. It's a PDF, you download it, you can print it, write it in it, whatever. So yeah, hope this helped. I am excited to talk about sitting with your emotions, which will be tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.